Hello, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us at GH Talks Media and Communication Studies. My name is Caitlin Billenduke, and I'm the Liaison Events Coordinator in Student Recruitment at the University of Guelph-Humber. And I'm also a proud graduate of the Media Studies class of 2013. It is my pleasure to be your host over the next hour. We have such an exciting evening ahead, talking all things media. I hope you all are excited to tune in. Now, before I introduce my other colleagues joining us today, I just wanted to go through a few housekeeping items before we begin. Now, you'll notice that we are taking a little bit of a break from the chat feature this evening. So with that said, we will be taking any questions through our Q&A chat feature. So if you do have any questions, please submit those through the Q&A chat feature. You'll either be addressed privately or we will cover frequently asked questions live at the end of the webinar. Now, we may also post additional resources in our chat, so feel free to check those out throughout the session. Now, we do ask that you keep questions specific to the program, so that's the Media and Communication Studies program today. All other upcoming program webinar dates can be found on the GH Talks website. Now, if you ever need to circle back on any of the information today, a recording of the webinar will be available on our website at a later date. So without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce our first presenter, my colleague, Joseph Italiano, who will take you through who we are as a university, our program, including information on first-year courses, unique opportunities, and more. Welcome, Joseph.
Thank you, Katie, and hello to all of our future students this evening. Now, I want to begin today's presentation by giving a big shout out to all of you, as we know that navigating through this pandemic can be challenging for many students as you transition to quadmesters or octomesters, to online learning, to a hybrid of in-person and online, as we heard today, back to online once again. By joining us today, however, it likely means that you've already taken the next step in your search for a post-secondary institution, as you have likely already submitted an application to the University of Guelph-Humber. And if you haven't already applied, the good news is that we are still accepting applications, so you are still able to do so. Now, we'll move on to the next slide, please. Now, recently, Statistics Canada released survey results that did show that 14% of recent college graduates first began their studies by completing a university degree. Now, they chose to obtain their diploma at a college after attending university because they wanted to gain more specialized training, hands-on training rather, through their college diploma that was related to their bachelor's degree. Now, the good news for all of you is that at the University of Guelph-Humber, we are a collaboration between two renowned institutions. You have the University of Guelph and Humber College Institute of Technology and Advanced Learning. Now, our graduates receive both a degree that provides them with the theoretical knowledge and a diploma that provides you with more hands-on practical learning in 4 years of full-time study at our one location here in Toronto, saving you more time and money. Now, if you're wondering how this is achieved, how do you get a degree and a diploma in 4 years? Well, at the University of Guelph-Humber, our curriculum is more focused. So this means that our programs consist of a majority of core courses with a maximum of 5 electives per program. Now, that means that you'll be studying what you're truly passionate about starting at your very first day on our campus. Now, at the University of Guelph-Humber, we also offer you more practical experience, and this is found through our field placements. Now, each of our 7 focus programs have workplace experience that's built right into their curriculum. So depending on the program you choose, you may be required to complete anywhere from 100 all the way up to 850 hours of in-field experience. Now, being located in Canada's largest city, Toronto, places you in the center of all those opportunities. And the University of Guelph-Humber has networked and built many connections with major organizations and companies within our very own community making it easier for you to secure those placements. Now, our instructors at the University of Guelph-Humber also bring more knowledge and experience to the classroom, as they are easily able to connect real-life experiences to the theoretical concepts that they will be teaching you within the classroom. Now, this is made possible as many of them are still working or would have worked for a number of years within the related area of study. Now, at the University of Guelph-Humber, we also offer you a more close-knit community, which provides you with more opportunities to create those industry connections. And by attending the University of Guelph-Humber, you will be experiencing the unique opportunity of small campus and classroom size. With a total student population of just under 5,000 students, you are placed in an academic learning environment where close bonds and friendships are inevitable. The average classroom size is just 49 students, with the largest lecture hall being a maximum of 125 students. A close-knit community will ensure that you'll be on a first-name basis with your instructors and peers, providing you with that advantage of gaining personalized reference letters and one-on-one supports within the classroom. So moving forward to the next slide, please. So as a media and communication studies graduate, upon 4 years of full-time study, when you cross that stage on your graduation or convocation day, you'll be receiving 2 credentials. You will earn an honors bachelor's of applied arts in media and communication studies from the University of Guelph and a diploma in media and communications from Humber College. Gaining 2 credentials in 4 years is what makes the University of Guelph-Humber unique, but it is also what will make you stand out to employers. By earning both credentials, this will tell employers that you not only have the knowledge of the field, but also the hands-on experience to do the job successfully. Now, if we move forward to the next slide, you'll see that having a close-knit community at the University of Guelph-Humber ensures that you have a meaningful experience as a student with us. When we look at the Media and Communication Studies program, typically there are about 130 first-year students within this program. This means that your average class size for media students is approximately only 35 students. A smaller class size allows you to have a more interactive and engaging lectures where you are guaranteed to know your professors and peers on a more personal basis. Why is it important to get to know your instructors and professors? Some of you may be wondering, and the reasoning behind that is at the University of Guelph-Humber, our professors are leaders in the industry. Getting to know your professors on a personal basis will make it easier for you to gain personalized reference letters and obviously those connections in the field. Now, take for example, if your instructor knows that a company is hiring for a certain position, they may choose to share that information with you as due to the fact that they've gotten to know you, they may feel that you are a great candidate for that particular position. Now, moving forward, in your first year and second year of the Media and Communication Studies program, you will take courses that provide you with a well-rounded knowledge of the media industry as a whole. Now, presented on this slide, you will see the full list of first-year courses that you will be taking. Now, these courses serve as an introduction to all areas of the media industry, and they will assist you in finding where your true passions lay. Now, we'll move forward to the next slide. And the good news is in the Media and Communication Studies program, students will be able to choose one of 5 specializations. Now, choosing your specialization takes place at the end of your second year. So there's no need to worry about figuring out what specialization to choose at this present moment. As presented on this slide, the 5 specializations include visual communication, multimedia journalism, public relations, digital marketing and social media, and media management and analytics. When you take a look at visual communication, the focus on content creation of the media industry is what this specialization will look into. Here, students will take courses that focus on digital and graphic design, videography and photography, virtual reality, and more. In multimedia journalism, this specialization is for students who enjoy telling stories through creative writing. You will learn how to tell stories using various platforms such as audio, video, print, and other online sources, for example, such as social media journalism. Now, public relations, on the other hand, is where students in public relations, they'll learn about the importance of reputation management from an organizational perspective and the mechanisms that may affect the reputation of that company or brand. So in other words, you're going to learn how to advocate for and on behalf of others or companies. Now, digital marketing and social media, this is for students who are interested in learning the creative elements of the media industry. Now, you will learn about audiences and how to cater content to influence consumer behavior. And last, but definitely not least, we have media management and analytics. Here, students will choose to enter the media management and analytics stream if they are interested in exploring data related to consumer behavior by getting a sense through numbers what consumers like and dislike. This is truly the business side of the media industry. And we'll move forward to the next slide, please. So media and communication studies students will complete more than 200 internship hours. Now, this internship is incorporated into your curriculum, meaning that you do not have to worry about having increased course loads or when it comes time to, when that time comes to completing those placements. You will be able to complete your placement either in the summer, fall, or winter of your third year, which is essentially during your fourth year of study. We will move forward. As we mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, the University of Guelph-Humber, more specifically our Career and Placement Services staff, have built many connections and partnerships with employers in our community. And presented on this slide, you will find a short list of some of the employers that we have connections with. Now, this is by no means the full list. It is just a short list, and we have a number of different partnerships that you would be able to potentially secure as a placement when that time comes. Now, in the past, students have completed their internships. To give you a couple of ideas, with Walt Disney Studios Canada, 680 News, Rogers Media, and even Sick Kids Hospital, to name a few. Now we'll move forward to the next slide. So as you embark on your post-secondary journey, many of you may find it refreshing to know that we at the University of Guelph-Humber are here to support you. We have academic advisors who are similar to your guidance counselors, and they are here to support you along your academic journey. We also have the Student Wellness and Accessibility Center, which is available for students who require any accommodations. Now, students will also have access to inclusive services such as the LGBTQ+ Resource Center, the International Center, the Indigenous Education and Engagement Center, and much more. Now, today, we are also joined by Melissa Patrizzi, who is one of our career service coordinators, specifically our career service coordinator for the Media and Communication Studies program today. And she will guide you through the next few slides to explain the services that supports and the services and supports that careers have to offer, but also what you are able to do once you graduate from the University of Guelph-Humber. Without further ado, Melissa.
Thanks so much, Joseph. Next slide, please. So I am the Career Services Coordinator for Media and Communication Studies. Each of our Career Services Coordinators focuses on a portfolio of programs so that we're able to really become specialists within that industry and make sure that we are connecting with the right employers and getting our students in front of opportunities for internship, placement, and new grad roles, as well as part-time jobs and summer opportunities as well. So I worked very closely with the placement coordinator so that we are supporting students from first year right through to the point when you're graduating and you're an alumni. So we kind of just do a little bit of a handoff with each other so that I'm supporting primarily students years 1, 2, and 3. And then when you go into your internship, the placement coordinator becomes your primary point of contact. And then you kind of transition back to me for support as you're about to graduate, you're looking for opportunities. And then as an alumni, one thing that is quite unique is that you always have access to career and placement services as an alumni member. It is actually an alumni perk that you can connect with us for resume and cover letter reviews, interview prep, etc. And that really never expires. So that is something that is quite unique to University of Guelph-Humber, that we are always here to support you from the day you become a Guelph-Humber student and through to always being part of our Guelph-Humber family and community. So that never really expires for you. We do work one-on-one with our students. So you always have access to us to connect for resume and cover letter critiques, interview prep. And as an incoming student, my biggest advice to you is start to work with me on your career plan. Even if you don't really know what you want to do, but you know this is the field for you, or if you are someone who kind of already has a plan and you want to figure out how to put that plan into action and be successful for those internships or an opportunity as you're graduating, working with me from the time you're a student is something I really encourage you to do. I'm always so super happy to meet with first year students so that we can look at this as something that doesn't have to be a stressor, something that you plan for and you kind of figure things out as you go and you work incrementally towards success as you're graduating. And again, you may know exactly what you want to do today, or you may say, well, I don't really know what I want to do, but this is the field for me. And in either case, working with me from year one and starting to develop some sort of plan and kind of having those check boxes of action items that you can do to work towards success becomes really, really important. And you will see, you know, the fruit of all that work when you're getting up for internships or when you're about to graduate. Next slide, please. So another way that we help support students is we do a number of different events throughout the year, usually on campus, of course, currently in a virtual capacity. So we have transitioned all of our professional development and career related events to a virtual environment. And so we are continuing to conduct what we call career expos, or you may more commonly consider them job fairs. We also have a ton of career related workshops, and we're always trying to stay on top of what is happening and what in the industry or what is of the most need for students and developing workshops around those needs. So for example, going into the COVID pandemic, we developed workshops that were around how you can engage in professional development from home or being successful in an online interview, which wouldn't have been something commonplace for candidates in the past. So we're always developing workshops that we feel would really benefit our students based on their needs, and doing those in some group scenarios, but also working with students one-on-one. Skill building workshops, so we would consider those things like our resume workshops or job search workshops. And as a first year student, you're going to want to adapt your resume and start to beef it up to something that is more recognizable as a professional identity. And I can't tell you how many times I meet with first year students or even second year students who will say to me, oh, well, my resume is not that great because I don't have a lot of experience. And really working with you to showcase that you have more experience than you think you do, and really picking that apart to highlight what your transferable skills are, or figuring out what your experiences have been that really are something as an asset that you want to highlight. We also have an annual grad school fair, which is super, super popular. And it's a great opportunity to kind of see some of the educational institutions that seek out our students for their graduate programs. And we also do graduate school planning and research with you. So when you get to that point, typically 3rd to 4th year, when you're considering your grad school options, you can always work directly one-on-one with us to do that research piece. You can also come to us with your application packages, your letter of intent, and we can help you ensure that you have everything you need to apply, and that your letter of intent is really showcasing your skill and desire to attend the school and how you would be successful by attending that school. And as I mentioned, that one-on-one support, as well as online resources. So GH Works is our #1 online resource. That is our job board primarily, but it's also where we do the administration of all of our placement documentation to keep everything housed in one central location for access for both you and us, or if you're applying for jobs, having those application packages online for employers to access as well. We have a bunch of promote job search links, and we also post sample resumes and cover letters to help you kind of polish that up on your own a little bit. So lots of online resources. Next slide. So here's some sample careers for a graduate of the Media and Communication Studies program. It's not an exhaustive list by any means. It just kind of gives you some of the things to think about as a prospective career of choice for you. What I do recommend is even just Googling some of these job titles if you want to know what an account coordinator does versus a marketing coordinator. Just Googling those and seeing if you can find some job posting and reading those descriptions. In some of these roles, what you will find is there is a lot of overlap, and some of them are very distinct. Primarily in the field of media, you're looking at, as Joseph indicated earlier when he talked about those specializations, what is the kind of function that you would like to perform in the workforce? Do you want to be more on the production side, editorial? Do you want to be a writer or a content developer? Do you want to do social media marketing or more written communications, media relations? Do you want to be more in the business aspect of the media industry, maybe doing sales or account coordination or relationship management, etc.? So here, you're welcome to take a screenshot of this or take a photo with your phone. And I really do encourage you to do a little bit of research and see what piques your interest. Next slide. So here's some sample of further education. Master of Journalism, Master of Communications Management, Master of Professional Communication, or Bachelor of Education. You may go through this program and decide you want to be a teacher in elementary school or high school and utilizing the skills learned in this program. So those are some options. And maybe, again, some of you today may think, I definitely want to go on to grad school. You may be thinking that's a little bit too far down the road and you're not quite there yet. And again, perfectly normal. So just, kind of keeping it in the back of your head, if this is something that you do end up wanting to pursue, that we can definitely help support you in those goals and help you do the research when it comes time to do that. I always say when you start to consider grad school, typically I would say start to consider that in your 3rd year very seriously to figure out what's right for you. And then on the other column, we have Ontario graduate certificates. One really great aspect of our program is that it is very wide scope. You're going to learn aspects of communications, production, web design, social media, business, media business or operations of the media industry. And you may decide that, you really want to narrow your scope and focus on something like, for example, advertising copywriting or fundraising management, which is a very niche field that you'll get a taste of for sure. And you'll have the complement of university degree as well as that diploma to support those goals. But sometimes you may want to specialize in a specific industry. And so you may consider going on to an Ontario graduate certificate, which is typically a one-year program at an Ontario college, where you are required to have an undergraduate degree in order to be eligible. And Joseph mentioned a little bit of a statistic at the beginning where, I'm sorry, I don't remember the statistic specifically, but there's a stat that says a certain percentage of university graduates are choosing to go on to college after their university degree. And the asset of these programs, I'm actually a graduate of a postgraduate certificate program. And so the asset is that you can either choose to niche in your field or actually change fields to some degree. And so University of Guelph-Humber gives you that degree and diploma where you don't necessarily need to go on to that Ontario graduate certificate. For me, I wanted to specialize in marketing and I didn't have a marketing undergraduate. So had I gone to University of Guelph-Humber, I may not have had to do the Ontario graduate certificate and kind of pivot in that same way. So for a graduate of our program, I don't really advise to the pivot that I experienced, but really delving into a niche specific function of your area of interest could be something you want to pursue. So this is just a sample of that. Next slide. So 89.7% of our graduates are currently employed or pursuing further education. And 75.4% of our graduates consider their career to either be highly related or somewhat related to the skills acquired in their program. And I will attest to the fact that these are actually quite high statistics comparatively to showcase that our alumni are actively employed within their field of study and their field of interest in their chosen industries. Next slide, please. And we've just included some testimonials. I won't read it out. Suffice it to say that working with our employers, we're always trying to get feedback once a student has completed their internship, especially just to get a sense of the success of our students. Was it a good experience from the employer's perspective? And by and large, what we really hear from employers is they love working with our students because they are extremely trained within their field of practice. So our internship does occur in the 4th year of study. And so comparatively, what we are told from testimonials from our employers is that at that 4th year level, the amount of education our students have received to make them be very productive in their position, in their internship, as well as the maturity and the caliber of work that they perform is really admirable and desirable. And so our employers come back to us again and again and consistently hire from our university, hiring interns and posting opportunities for new grads as well. And there is another slide. I won't read it out word by word, but just another testimonial to attest to the success of our students in internship with our employer partners. And Joseph did show a list of some of our employer partners previously, and the ones that we have highlighted is, again, not an exhaustive list, but they are organizations that we have been working with for years and years. I've been with the university for 10 years, and the bulk of those employers have probably been with us for the full 10 years, which really shows that they continue to work with us because of the caliber of student and because of their experience with our university. And I think that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Melissa and Joseph, for all of that great information. And just to kind of further with what Melissa was saying, I know myself as a media studies graduate, whether you have a career path in mind or are still navigating your options, it's safe to say that placement and experiential learning is now becoming a very key considerate factor so that you're graduating with experience and, most importantly, confidence to help navigate your and guide your career decisions and success for after you graduate. So keep that in mind as you continue to do your research on all of the great programs that are available to you in Ontario and beyond. So with that said, I'd like to move on. Thank you so much to our presenters for all that great information. Now you finally all might be thinking that the information that you heard today sounds great. It sounds amazing. But we all know that it's very, very important when it comes to choosing a university that you, so they say, try before you buy. And your research really wouldn't be complete without hearing from a current student yourself about their experience and what they hope to achieve in their future. So with that said, I would like to invite, and I am pleased to introduce Sarah De La Rosa, who is a fourth-year student in the Media and Communication Studies program. Bittersweet because she is graduating this year, but I'm sure that we're going to talk a little bit about your experience, Sarah. I'm very excited. So welcome.
Hi, yeah, like Katie said, my name is Sarah, and I'm so happy to be here with you all tonight.
Thank you, Sarah. So I do have a few questions for you that I'm sure our audience is very keen to know. Also, this is just a friendly reminder to all of our guests. If you have any questions or any feedback for our staff and students of anything that you've heard so far today, please continue to submit those through the Q&A feature. We would love to hear from you. Okay, so Sarah, my first question to you is, in our Media and Communication Studies program, you learn about all the different areas of the media industry through different courses such as social media issues and perspective and introduction to photography. Now, do you mind sharing what some of your favorite courses have been so far?
Yeah, okay, so this one was actually kind of difficult to answer because I've enjoyed so many classes during my time in this program. But I think just two classes that really stood out to me, I think. The first one was film studies, which was a class that I took in my first year, where I was able to just watch different movies each week. And I was able to analyze and discuss those movies with my professor and classmates. And as someone who just really enjoys watching movies in my free time, this class just gave me a new appreciation for the different aspects that go into filmmaking that are used to just portray the overall theme of the movie. And just to give you a little insight, some of the movies that we watched were Psycho, Mad Max, and Star Wars, just to name a few. And another class that I really enjoyed was my presentation and persuasions class, which is just a speech writing class that I took in my second year, I believe. And in that class, I was able to develop my speech writing and delivery skills, which are obviously super important in the industry. And we were given the opportunity to learn how to write persuasive and informative speeches on interesting topics. So one of the speeches that I wrote about was how to just make a cup of tea. As like a former David's Tea employee, I taught my class how to make a good cup of tea.
That's awesome. It's actually kind of giving me a little nostalgic because I remember that class. And for anybody out there who's feeling a little bit nervous about presentations and persuasions, I know that class really got me out of my shell. I was so scared to talk in front of anybody. And now I do public speaking for a living. So life-changing. So moving on, how is having access to media labs such as the Multimedia production studio and editing suites enhanced your learning?
Yeah, so the editing suites actually really helped me during my time, especially in my first and second years. So firstly, the Adobe Creative Suite is, first of all, really expensive. And as a student working part-time, it wasn't something that I could afford. So I would just spend all my time in between classes, after classes, before classes, finishing my assignments using the Adobe Creative Suite that was provided at the school. And it was just also helpful being able to use the iMacs that we have at school and seeing my work on a bigger screen rather than just on my tiny little MacBook. It helped me just see any imperfections that I would have otherwise missed if I was just looking again at my little small laptop. So working in the editing suites also allowed me to work beside other students and get any feedback and help from them, because they all have skills that I don't have. So it was nice to get another person's perspective when finishing assignments.
Awesome. Yeah, lots of really great stuff to take advantage of for sure. So the next question I have for you, Sarah, is as a student in our Media and Communication Studies program, you get to complete an internship of more than 200 hours. What have been some of your best experiences at your internship?
This one's a fun question to answer because I just finished my internship at a small public relations agency called Talk Shop Media. And it was actually a really fulfilling experience for me because my supervisors provided me with so many opportunities to learn more about the public relations industry. So then other than just having a great team to work with, I think my best experience at my internship would be drafting a Mother's Day social media plan for one of the brands that we worked with. And I'm not really sure how much I'm allowed to say since it hasn't gone live yet and I was on a contract, but I was really proud of what I came up with. So basically a social media plan is just a tool that is used to drive engagement on a brand's social media pages. So for the one that I created, it was specifically for Instagram and they wanted to activate influencers. So along with my plan, I provided suggestions for the influencers that I thought would do really well for the campaign. And all of the suggestions that I gave were actually taken directly to the brand for approval. So that was really exciting for me. And I'm just waiting for Mother's Day to see it in action on Instagram. But yeah, overall, it was just a really great experience. And it definitely has allowed me to grow and learn so much more about the industry and public relations in general and all the different brands that I was working alongside.
Yeah, that's so cool, Sarah. It's always so cool to see everything you learned in class and kind of like practiced in class come to fruition in real life. I remember that myself, and hopefully anybody out there for Mother's Day can tune into all of that lovely stuff that you did for Talk Shop. So thanks so much for sharing that. That's awesome, an awesome opportunity. So next question for you is, can you tell us about any other opportunities that you've had within the program, such as extracurriculars, getting involved, club societies, etc.?
Yeah, so in my third year, I actually took an events management course, and that course gave me the opportunity to help plan the thesis conference for graduating students to present their thesis projects in front of an audience. So I was able to experience firsthand what planning an event is really like just by being able to source the furniture, planning out the menu and floor plans with a set budget, which was a really great experience. And the planning stages happened before the pandemic, so we didn't get to see the event come to life, sadly. But it was still just a great experience, a great opportunity for me to learn more, obviously, about planning an event and a little something that I can add to my resume and my cover letters and things like that when looking for a job.
Awesome. Already so many things to add to your resume. That's great. So my next question to you, Sarah, is when you were thinking about post-secondary programs, when you were in grade 12, what drew you to our Media and Communication Studies program?
Yeah. Okay. So something that attracted me to choose this program was because of the first 2 years being general media courses, as stated earlier, and then being able to choose my specialization after my second year. So back in grade 12, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I applied to a ton of early childhood studies courses, actually. And yeah, but I was also interested in the media. And then when I came across the University of Guelph-Humber and their media studies program, I just thought it would be perfect for me because it would give me time to figure out what I enjoyed most about media and also learn more about the industry as a whole. So now fast forward 4 years, I feel like those general media courses during my first 2 years helped my knowledge of the industry become well-rounded by allowing me to develop and learn skills in different areas. So like photography, web design, digital design, things like that, which are courses that I definitely wouldn't have picked up if I went to a different school or a different program. And plus the opportunity for an internship in my 4th year was also something that drew me to this program too.
Amazing. Lots of good stuff there. And now you're a jack of all trades. So next question I have for you is, can you share with us any opportunities that have enhanced your experience at the university, like work study, athletics, clubs, study abroad, anything like that?
Mhm. So for 2 years, I've actually been working a work study position as a student transition and resource team leader, or we call ourselves START for short. So as a START leader, I'm just responsible for working at various on-campus and off-campus events like this one, Ontario University Fair, orientation, and leading campus tours. And some of my favorite university my favorite university memories actually have been working at these events because it just doesn't feel like work because it's so much fun. And through this position, I've just also been able to meet students from all the different programs at the university who are actually some of my best friends now. So a lot of fun.
That's so great. Yeah, I totally miss working all those events with our START team leaders. And even as a staff member, I can honestly attest to that. Like, we make such great bonds. So really happy to hear that's been a great experience for you, Sarah. My next question for you is, after graduating from the University of Guelph-Humber, what are your plans?
Ooh, okay. Kind of scary. I just honestly plan to work full time after graduation. And since graduation is a few weeks away for me, I've already been keeping my eyes peeled for different opportunities at PR agencies or different companies. And I've actually applied to a few already as an account coordinator or a social media coordinator, which is, again, exciting, but really scary at the same time. But I've also been thinking about pursuing graduate studies, but my education from the University of Guelph-Humber has already been so valuable that for now I've decided to go directly into the workforce, but who knows what could happen in the future.
Absolutely. There's so many opportunities, and you can definitely take your time. Doesn't all have to be decided right after you graduate, for sure. Thanks for sharing that with us. Now, I do have one final question for you, Sarah. Now, I'd like you to take a moment and reflect back to when you were in grade 12, probably like a lot of our guests tuning in today, and having to make this important decision in your life, so choosing a post-secondary institution. Now, what advice can you give to our grade 12 students in the audience as they make their decision on which university to attend in the fall?
So my advice would just be to follow your heart. And as cheesy as that might sound, it's honestly what got me to where I am today. But I would also say to make sure you do your research on all of your available options, which is something I obviously did. So the moment that I was introduced to the University of Guelph-Humber, I could just picture myself calling it home. And that's what truly solidified my decision to come here. And I'm someone that likes to think with my gut and my heart alongside my brain, but mostly my gut and my heart like to make the main decisions. So that's why I just say follow your heart. So wherever you can picture yourself being the happiest and most comfortable, but also provide you with a lot of opportunities, I say that's what I would suggest for you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Your insight and your advice, I'm sure, are very invaluable to our guests. As I'm sure you remember when you were in the shoes of our applicants, as you kind of reminisced in the last question there, I just want to say your stories and your perspective are incredibly helpful in aiding these students on their journey to finding their best fit. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, is finding your best fit in finding a post-secondary institution, or the one. Now this leads me, and again, thank you, Sarah, for all of that great information. So now this leads me to another very important perspective when it comes to choosing a university, and that's experiencing our campus for yourself. Now we know that it's very difficult to replace the actual campus experience, and we would love to welcome you to our lovely, open, bright facility. However, we do have one of our student ambassadors, Cindy Solano, here to guide you through a virtual campus experience over the next 10 minutes. Now, this might be the quickest tour we've ever had, but please note immediately following the tour, we will finish off with a live Q&A to address all of those remaining questions that I do see in the Q&A. So again, I do invite, if you do have any further questions, please continue to submit those in the Q&A. Without further ado, we will have Cindy take it away. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Caitlin. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I'm really excited to be here, and I want to say hello to everyone in the audience and welcome onto the University of Guelph-Humber campus. I'm really excited to be here with all of you and to take you up the front steps and inside the University of Guelph-Humber and to show you all around. So grab your things and let's go. Follow me around our 4-story building, chock full of student support and state-of-the-art facilities. Let's start where students gather every day, in our North Atrium. The North Atrium is the hub of student life. It looks up to our signature spiral staircases, one of 5 staircases and 2 elevators that accesses our upper floors, hosts a virtual current events board, and is a meeting point that literally breathes life into our campus with its 4-story plant wall, which is made up of over 1,000 species of plants and one of the very first of its kind in Canada. Its biofilter cleans the air and in the building and offers the perfect backdrop for a selfie, and I've taken many of those in my 4 years so far. As we move around the atrium, we pass by our main entrance, info desk, and many of our student services, here to support you in your admission and advising on for work placements, career planning, academics, and student financial services. Students connect with student services to speak to our very helpful one-on-one staff to ensure that they are always making the most of their time here at the university. I've had many amazing experiences actually talking to the staff in these offices, and they've helped me incredibly with some of my personal events. I know in my first year, I had some issues with registering for some courses. And I remember going to this office and speaking to an academic advisor who, not to be dramatic, literally saved my life and helped me select the courses that I need to take. And to this day, I'm very grateful that I've made connections with these academic advisors. So we're gonna head back to our atrium where business students can be found making events come to life in our art gallery, where in the Events Management 2 course, student groups are given a budget of $1,500 to source, plan, and execute a live event. Events of all kinds have been held here, from art exhibitions to product launches. If you ever get the moment between classes to attend one of these amazing events, I would strongly encourage that you do so. Across the atrium from the art gallery, we find GH111 and GH117. These are 2 120-seat lecture halls, which are the largest you can find at the university. With an average class size of only 49 students, most of our classrooms seat 65 students or less, but larger first-year courses are held here, and they're equipped with natural lighting, swivel chairs, and outlets at each seat, and they still allow the opportunity to work in small groups. I remember in my first year of a psychology course I actually took in one of these classrooms, I had maybe about 100 students in this class, which was huge compared to what I've had later on in my upper years, just because my classes are generally much smaller. And I know that we spoke about this earlier, but just the small class sizes have been so amazing for me. And I even had a class in my 3rd year that only had 9 students. So that's something I'll never forget. As we head back to the spiral staircases and up to the 2nd floor, let's check out our newly renovated practice presentation rooms. They're built with the help of alumni donors, and these rooms act as practice board rooms for student project groups to enhance their public speaking skills, PowerPoint presentation skills, and meeting and case delivery skills. The sound dampening design features allows for quiet in the room whenever campus is busy. Our new case competition course allows business students to learn how to tackle business cases and the opportunity to take part in one of our award-winning case competition teams, some of which who have taken home some major hardware competitions all across the globe, such as our big win last year in Johannesburg, South Africa. My former classmate named Emma worked extremely hard to prepare for these competitions while she was on this team, and she often credits these experiences in getting her a job after graduation as a senior reconciliation officer at Scotiabank. As we work our way around the 2nd floor, we find various student spaces for individual study and study groups, as well as our learning commons, where many student workers help classmates with computer, academic, career, and research support, and they get paid and build resume experience for doing so. Just around the corner, the Ignite Leadership Lounge is located across of our GH Cafe Eatery, and gives a space for student leaders to assemble, plan, and execute student initiatives, as well as events and pursue common interests. Many future leaders, such as yourself, find themselves in meetings in this very space, whether your interest is leading a club, an academic society, or getting involved in student politics. Now it's time to head up to the third floor, where we'll take a sneak peek into our several applied learning labs. The Early Childhood Studies program boasts two amazing facilities on this floor. The Innovative Learning Lab, which is a state-of-the-art classroom that teaches future educators to understand learning styles by using them themselves. Learning pods are equipped with smartboards and a variety of seating styles, including wiggle stools, beanbag chairs, and bicycle desks for the active kinesthetic learner. The Early Childhood Resource Room is a social hub for ECS students, and where students can sign out hundreds of learning resources to bring to work placements in schools and therapeutic settings such as the Ronald McDonald House or the Sick Kids Hospital, among many other options, in order to learn techniques and enrich their own lesson plans. Next, we're going to move to our crime scene investigation lab, and should you feel uncomfortable with viewing a crime scene up close, please minimize your Zoom window at this time. I'll give you a couple moments to do so. So this is actually one of my favorite rooms, and the CSI lab is set up by professors to emulate the various components of a recent crime. In this room, students will assess fingerprints and blood splatter, and this is just one of the many ways that our justice studies students apply their classroom learning outside of the classroom. Students can join and compete in international competitions with our CSI case team, or get involved and prepare for law school or other graduate studies with our pre-law society or Alpha Phi Sigma Honor Society. Just around the hall, we'll find a series of labs dedicated to our media and communication studies students, and I'm sure this applies to many of you in the audience today. Our editing suite features 27-inch iMac workstations equipped with industry-leading design software, such as the Adobe Creative Cloud, which is here for digital journalism and visual communication students to produce and edit their own work. Our control room allows students to learn how to create the lighting and sound behind the magic of television. And now we'll take a little sneak peek into our photography lab, where digital marketing and social media, visual communication, and multimedia journalism students shoot and edit their work. Our multi-purpose production studio hosts a soundstage, a green screen, and allows students to produce live television broadcasts and podcasts on location. For those of you who follow us on social media at Guelph-Humber, you might actually recognize some of these facilities as we put them to use on our web series, What's Up Wednesdays, and you might even recognize Caitlin from there. Lastly, our new and ever-evolving virtual reality lab is equipped with the 360 Google cameras that allowed us to create much of this tour that you are currently watching. And down the hall and around the corner, we find the lovely experiential learning lab used by our family and community social service students, and is a simulated model of a typical community agency office with 2 counseling rooms and a one-way mirror. This allows students to role play their client interviews and mock counseling sessions. I'll just give it a moment for the screen to catch up here. Okay. So in the same space, psychology and students use the lab to conduct research, and students can be hired as research assistants to work a paid position alongside a professor to collect and interpret data on a specific topic. A former tour leader named Skylar was hired as a psychology research assistant last year, and the topic she studied helped her to write her thesis and have the opportunity to present her findings at an academic conference last winter. I even have a good friend of mine who got the amazing opportunity to go to California last year before the pandemic hit. And she was actually able to travel all the way there with her professors and some of the friends she made during this experience. And she tells me to this day, it's been one of the most amazing and memorable experiences, not only during her time at the university, but just in her life as a whole. Okay, so I don't know if there's any technical difficulties with the screen, but if it's okay, I guess I'll continue on. So as we head back to the second floor, we invite you to get to know the full Humber College campus by visiting their North Campus virtual tour, which can be found online at humber.ca. Humber buildings house many of our shared student services, such as the library, housed in the Learning Resource Commons, the bookstore, the Student Wellness and Accessibility Center, our Math and Writing Centers, International and Testing Centers, as well as additional eateries. There are so many food options available at Humber. So whether you're a burrito lover like me, if jerk chicken is your jam, or if you like to keep it light and healthy with veggie bowls, salad bars, or the odd burger here and there, we have many options available to you. 2 days a week, there is even a pay what you can soup bar that caters to students using all sustainable cooking methods. Lastly, found at Humber and frequently by our students are the athletic facilities, study spaces, and our unique kinesiology labs. The exercise prescription lab is where students take courses to partake in related hands-on learning, such as taping, and to get to use body assessment equipment, such as bod pods, which allow students to understand body composition in the context of health. From here, we'll head back to across the bridge and through our main doors for a quick walk across the parking lot to residence, where the University of Guelph-Humber shares 3 buildings and living learning communities with Humber College students. For students who are interested in living on campus, single style rooms are assigned to applicants who receive an offer of admission and apply to residence by June 1st. I've surely heard amazing things about living in residence and just incredible bonds that you'll develop during this time. Living in residence also has the added perk of being situated on the Humber Arboretum, a 250-acre green space set just behind campus and filled with award-winning garden spaces, hiking trails, and even an outdoor classroom. I know for me personally, I would love to come here during some time between classes just to study or to catch up with friends. And I even got the advantage of having some classes where we had some lectures outside in this Arboretum, and I'm telling you, it was absolutely a beautiful experience. So now that you've had a glimpse across the University of Guelph-Humber building and the surrounding area, I hope you have a good feel of what it's like to benefit from the many state-of-the-art facilities that we pack into one friendly building, and the high level of support and many opportunities that come along with being a University of Guelph-Humber student. Thank you so much for joining me on our guided tour. And now I'll turn it back to Caitlin to share a few important reminders. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cindy, for that rapid fire tour. I hope you all got a chance to envision yourselves virtually on our campus, our beautiful campus and space. So now I'm going to turn it over to your questions in the Q&A chat. So thank you to everybody who's been sharing those questions. For anybody who continues to have any questions, please feel free to submit it in our Q&A chat. We will be going a little bit over. I'm just checking the time right now. So if you're able to stick around for another few minutes, that's great. But for those of you who need to get going, we do appreciate that. A recording will be available at a later date, but we do encourage you to stick around for all of the different questions that are coming through. So I'm just going to invite all of our presenters to just join me back live, along with our student, Sarah, as well. Okay, thank you, everyone. So we're going to start with our first question here. I believe this question would be for Joseph. This question is about the first year courses that were listed at the beginning of the presentation. The question is, do you have to take all of those courses that were showed for your first year, or were they all, were those electives?
That is a great question. And so the first year courses that were shown on the slide previously, those were the first year courses that students in the Media and Communication Studies program would be taking. There were no general electives listed there. Those were all core courses. What I'm going to do is in the chat, shortly after I conclude this question, I will go ahead and I will send a link to what is called our program plan for the Media and Communication Studies program, so that you can see a list of all of the courses that you will be taking within your 4 years. Now, as I mentioned earlier, due to the fact that our programs are more focused, the good news is at the University of Guelph-Humber, many of your courses will be already outlined for you, and you'll only have a maximum of 5 electives to choose from during your time with us at the University of Guelph-Humber. All of those are available for you to take a look at, so I will post the program plan back in my chat. I hope that was a good answer, and I hope that I was able to clarify for you. Katie?
Thank you so much, Joseph. So this next question will be for Melissa. So this question is, if I wanted to continue my studies after graduating from the Media and Communication Studies program, can I go into any master's program at any institution, or are there specific partnerships that I can only choose from?
Thank you so much. So yes, you can attend any master's program from any institution. We do have a few international partnerships specific to our university, but your honors bachelor degree conferred to you through the University of Guelph is what makes you eligible to pursue a master's program. So if you are interested in a master's degree, that is what makes you eligible. The fact that a university, it confers to you that degree.
Oh, got to take myself off mute. This next question is for Melissa again. This question is, how exactly do the internships work? Is there something that students apply to? What if students are unable to get an internship?
Thank you. Good question. So the internship process, we do pursue that process like any job search. So it is even just the actual act of applying and interviewing and then being ideally the successful candidate, that is a learning process in and of itself. So I'm a huge proponent of that process. I always say no one's going to hand you a job when you graduate. So we do not follow a placement, quote unquote, structure where you're provided the internship. That being said, that is the reason why we have a placement coordinator and myself who really work in conjunction with each other to ensure that we do have the employers posting opportunities and working directly with us. And the asset of having a placement coordinator who is in the career services department. Some other programs at other institutions, the placement coordinator might be the instructor, but we have a centralized system. So that placement coordinator stays in our own department. So those contacts never get lost, right? So if an instructor were to ever leave or not teach that course, their contacts essentially would leave as well. So by centralizing that process and ensuring the placement coordinator is in our department, it retains those contacts so that we have that working relationship year over year. So I work with those employers as well as our placement coordinator just to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that they're posting opportunities, that the process is clearly communicated to students and to our employer partners. So we all have a vested interest to see the students succeed. I don't have statistics on how many students don't successfully get an internship but I will say you can't graduate without doing an internship. So essentially it's 100% of our students do get an internship. The internship is offered in currently 2 semesters, but I know they're changing that and I'm not too familiar with the new structure, but it will be offered in multiple semesters. So if you were to pursue the course, let's say in your summer semester, and you're not successful in getting an opportunity, that's okay. You still have a chance to do it in the following semester or the semester after that. So 100% of our students who graduate from our program do get an internship. And I can tell you by 4th year, there's no way you're going to fail, especially if you work with me from 1st year. Doing your professional development, doing your networking, getting that resume ready, doing volunteer work, joining on campus societies, doing part-time jobs, whatever it is that builds your skill set is really going to help you succeed long-term. So don't worry about the internship too much. It's a great experiential learning piece, but it's really only part of the puzzle. And we do that to help get you in front of employers, help get you that experience, but hopefully you're working along the way up until that point in 4th year where you can say, I've got social media skills, or I've got production skills, or I've got written skills, and here's how I can showcase my experience. And if it's none of that, at least those transferable skills. And so GH Works, again, is our job board, and GH Works is where the bulk of those internship opportunities do get posted. but also our placement coordinator, once you're registered in the course, she has her class list. And so she can identify students who might not have something secured yet. And she can work with her employer partners to say, oh, you know, I've got this really great student. I think they'll be perfect, and send them your way. So she does do, it is very much that one-to-one customized approach to help you be successful.
Thanks, Melissa. And before we move on, I'd also like to say I used career and placement for my internship. And I was set up with a really great internship with CBC. They looked over my resume, cover letter, helped me with an interview. I know it's really scary, but there is a lot of support, and I can definitely attest to that in media. So thank you, Mel. So we're going to move on to the next question, and this is for Joseph. Do all classes take place in the Guelph-Humber building, or are some in the Humber building?
That is a great question. So at the University of Guelph-Humber, although we are situated on the Humber College campus, all of your classes, so all of your courses will be taking place in our one building, which is the University of Guelph-Humber campus, which is 4 floors. So the benefit to you is you don't have to worry about scrambling from one side of the campus to the other side of a campus. You'll only have to worry about going perhaps from one floor to the other. So it is really easy to navigate in that regard. Now, in addition to that, when it comes to the support services or the amenities, the food court, all of those sorts of things, the athletic center, you as a University of Guelph-Humber student have full access to the Humber College campus as well as the facilities there. So that is definitely a big benefit for the University of Guelph-Humber students. It's one centralized location when it comes to time for their educational classes, but then they have access and free range to the entire Humber College campus to enjoy all of the benefits, services, and also food options that they have to offer. So hopefully that answers that question.
Thank you, Joseph. I believe this next question will be for you as well. So this is pertaining to this upcoming fall semester. Are classes still going to be online, or will we be going to in-person and online classes mixed? To also add to that question, will the capacity change if in-person learning is permitted once the fall comes?
All right, that is definitely a great question. I'm sure it's something that is on many of our minds. What does the future have to hold? Where will the pandemic be by the time the fall semester reaches? And truth be told, I wish we all had that answer or crystal ball to be able to see what the future does hold for us. But currently, I can tell you that we are planning for more activity on campus for fall 2021 semester. As such, we are planning for as much face-to-face learning as possible. However, recognizing that our ability to provide face-to-face learning will obviously ultimately depend on public health guidelines. So we are also planning for the possibility of a mix face-to-face to remote learning. So what we'll do is we'll continue to keep you updated as the situation evolves. And as soon as we have a firm decision, we will be sure to communicate that to all of our applicants as well as our students. So at this time, we are looking for more face-to-face interaction, or at least a blend of the two, obviously following public health guidelines. Now, to answer the flip side to that question about capacity, I did see that question in the Q&A, and I believe that's with respect to, we did mention constantly average class size, the intake numbers for the Media and Communication Studies program. And I want to assure you that those numbers are based on if we were to be in person. So those numbers do not change. Well, if we were to be online versus in person, those numbers stand. We ensure that we have a smaller classroom size to be able to deliver that theoretical learning, but also pair it with those practical hands-on skills. If we were to have 200 people in a lecture hall, when it comes time to you experiencing, for example, the photography studio, you would have probably less than 1 minute to experience that lab. So we don't want any of that. We want to ensure all of our students have access to all of the labs and hands-on learning opportunities, because that is what makes the University of Guelph-Humber so unique and great. So hopefully that answers that question as well.
Thanks so much, Joseph. We just have a few more questions. Joseph, this is for you. For transfer students, do some classes are some classes all year or only the assigned semesters? So I know with transfer, it could be a little bit case by case. Joseph, do you want to just briefly break that down?
Yeah, for sure. So at the University of Guelph-Humber, we do not offer full year courses. So all of our courses are semester based. So they follow a 12-week format throughout the fall and winter term. So as a transfer student, what will happen is you will, upon receiving an offer of admission, you'll receive a transfer credit assessment, which will indicate what classes you've received credit for. And essentially from that, you can take a look at the program plan to determine what courses you will need to complete in order to meet the requirements of your degree. So what I would encourage you to do is definitely once you are admitted into the University of Guelph-Humber's Media and Communication Studies program, connect with your academic advisor to be able to see what courses you still need to take and to be able to build your own program plan so that way you can keep on track and ensure that you graduate by the specific date that you are intended to.
Thanks, Joseph. This next question, what kind of electives are available your first year? I believe Joseph posted that link in the chat, so you can take a look at the electives that you could be taking throughout your 4 years. So have a look at the chat. And then finally, just for the sake of time, I'm going to move on to the final 2 questions. What virtual meeting program is going to be used for classes? Joseph, are you able to tackle this question for us?
Yeah, I can tackle that. So in terms of platforms, typically Zoom is what is used within the classroom. However, it's either, it is ultimately at the discretion of your instructor. So some instructors may choose to use Zoom, others may choose to use Teams, but primarily for instruction purposes, it is through Zoom. But we also have a platform called CourseLink. So typically, whether or not we are in a virtual setting or not, all of your course material will be housed on CourseLink, which is our platform where you'll be able to submit your assignments, see what your assignments are posted, to be able to have group discussions as well. So with that respect, I can assure you not to worry really about what platform necessarily is going to be used, because all students will be communicated with based on that when more information is received on what the delivery method will be. So your instructors, I can assure you, will send you an email indicating how the classes will operate for their specific class prior to the start of the semester.
Thank you, Joseph. And we just have one final question for you. I believe you may have touched on this actually earlier. This is just with regards to in-person learning. Will we be able to learn in person by next semester? Do you want to just reiterate how that may look for the University of Guelph-Humber and return to campus?
Yeah, for sure. So once again, we don't have a definite answer on what the fall will look like. As the pandemic continues to roll out, we're hoping with the vaccination rollout, things will become more safe and that we will have the ability to do more face-to-face learning, as much face-to-face learning as possible. So we obviously do recognize as an institution that priority is the health and safety of our students, our staff, our faculty, all of those who are part of the University of Guelph-Humber community. So we will continue to follow the direction of our local public health to determine what the guidelines are and what the safest route to take is. So we are at this present moment, again, for fall 2021, no official decision has been rolled out, but we are anticipating that there will be more face-to-face lectures where possible, or at least a mix of face-to-face and virtual. So as soon as we have that decision, we will communicate that decision to all applicants as well as current students. Just sit tight for that, but hopefully that helps to answer your question and ease any worries.
Yes, I know even all of us, we're very eager to get back on campus and see everybody and all of that. So thank you very much for everybody who submitted their questions. So we're just going to wrap things up quickly with just a few next steps on now that you've attended this seminar, what can you do next? Just one second. We hope you found today's information and stories shared very helpful as you continue your university research. Now, the conversation doesn't end here. We would love to continue helping you wherever you can, especially within these virtual environments. Now, we'd like to invite you to check out some of our resources that we're going to be posting in the chat, and along with other ways to connect. So this includes other virtual offerings. So this includes other GH Talk series. So we have our other upcoming programs and other general GH Talk webinars. So check that out and see what applies to you so that you can tune in and learn more about the university. One other event that we want to put on your radar is Next Steps. So this is an event that's taking place on May 26th, 2021. Now, this is another virtual event that offers various sessions on your next steps to becoming a U of GH student. So for more information on these virtual offerings and to register for live events right now, please use the Visit Us link in the chat or by checking your email. So Next Steps particularly, registration won't be available until the coming weeks. So continue to check our website for that. Now, if you do have any further questions for us, we'd love to hear from you. So you can check out our website for more information on our programs, services, and again, virtual offerings. Contact us by phone, email, or by booking a virtual one-on-one appointment with us. I believe we have posted that link in the chat. Again, we'd love to connect with you one-on-one, so don't hesitate to book that one-on-one chat so that we can tend to your specific questions. Lastly, we definitely encourage you follow us on all of our social channels for the latest and greatest U of GH news and updates. So I'd like to thank all of you again, including our wonderful speakers, Joseph, Melissa, Sarah, and Cindy, for all of your great information. And for all of you at home, thank you so much for joining us today and for your interest in the University of Guelph-Humber. All the best on your research. Bye now.